Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going to be talking about Stranger Things 5, Part 2, and the finale. So the last 4 episodes of Season 5 of Stranger Things, basically. That's going to be our main topic tonight. In addition, we've got our On the Horizon segment where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so. And we've also got 4 trailers that we're going to go over as well. Well, 3 trailers and a teaser, I should say. Let's start things off with our On the Horizon segment. On the Horizon, as I said, is where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so. And we're starting off with a banger. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is coming on Sunday, January 18th to HBO and HBO Max. That's this Sunday. I'm excited. We've talked about this with all the different trailers that have come out. And I keep repeating myself and saying that this really has like a Knight's Tale kind of vibe to it, which is really cool because I love that movie. And I think that I'm really down for something that's just not quite as serious, not quite as filled with machinations of the rich, you know?
Yeah.
So I like that it's kind of coming from a different perspective and has a little bit more of a sense of humor to it and stuff. So I'm like, okay, it's not that I want all the Game of Thrones series to be like that. I'm just happy to have something that's just a little different vibe-wise than the others. So that's going to be really cool. I'm excited for that. Next up on Wednesday, January 21st, The Beauty is coming to FX and Hulu. This is the new Ryan Murphy series. I guess it's based on an Image Comics book. Do you know anything about that?
No, I'm not familiar.
I guess it's about some kind of scientific breakthrough to make people more attractive or something, and it's all kind of about the vanity and the horror, because in the body horror it looks like maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But that's coming on Wednesday, January 21st to FX and Hulu. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming to new platforms on Thursday, January 22nd. So this game came out a while ago. This is the PS5 version of the game, so it's not like the PS4 version. It's Intergrade. But on Thursday, January 22nd, it's going to be coming to Xbox Series X and Switch 2. So Square making that kind of shift towards platform agnosticism, I guess, you know?
Yeah, they weren't making their money back being PlayStation exclusive, so they're pivoting
to more diverse console lineups, I guess.
Yeah.
So Switch 2, of course, is the one everyone's talking about, the Switch 2 build of the game, but it's also coming to Xbox. So both of those are going to be available on Thursday, January 22nd. Then on Friday, January 23rd, Mercy is coming to theaters. I completely forgot what this was, but it's a movie coming to theaters. It's called Mercy on Friday, January 23rd. Also on Friday, January 23rd, also coming to theaters is Return to Silent Hill. So the one thing I'll say about this that's interesting, the only thing I think that's interesting, I think a lot of people have doubts that this is going to be any good. The one thing I'll say it's interesting is this is Christoph Gans that's directing this one. He directed the first Silent Hill movie. He also did a really good movie called Brotherhood of the Wolf, and he hasn't really done too terribly much besides that. He's had this kind of huge gaps in his career, basically. So that's not necessarily saying this is going to be good. It just means that somebody who's previously adapted Silent Hill pretty well. I think the first Silent Hill movie is pretty well received, especially for its time. I think when it came out, it was pretty much considered like the best video game adaptation at its time. But yeah, that's coming on Friday, January 23rd to theaters. As a Silent Hill fan, is this something you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'll watch it. I don't know if I'm like super hyped for it, but I'll watch it.
Okay. And this one is, it's supposed to be like a remake of 2, right? Or an adaptation of the second game specifically, I believe.
Yes.
But that is our On the Horizon segment, and now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat. On Beat is our news segment, and we've got 4 trailers we're going over today. We're going to start things off with a new version of The Mummy, this one being done by Lee Cronin, who did Evil Dead Rise last. That was his last movie. And now he's tackling The Mummy.
Now he's tackling another supernatural thriller. This is a teaser. Something's wrong with Katie.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. It's a pretty vague teaser, but it's just enough to
Is it just Katie or is something wrong with her mummy too?
I don't know. It was just enough to basically set the tone, right?
Yeah.
To give you an idea of this isn't going to be a Brendan Fraser action movie.
Aww.
Yeah.
I thought when it said the director of Evil Dead Rise, I was like,
this isn't going to be
a hoot.
This isn't going to be a Tom Cruise action movie.
There's not going to be a helicopter chase? What the fuck?
Yeah. Right,
Can you even call it The Mummy if there's not a helicopter chase?
No, you can't.
Everybody knows mummies and helicopters go together. Next, we got a surprise trailer for The Wrecking Crew. This is something I don't think I had any idea this existed. It's a pairing with Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I didn't know about this until I saw a trailer today. I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. Apparently this is on Amazon. They're basically, it looks like they're cops in Hawaii, and they're fighting the Yakuza. I don't know, it's a buddy cop action comedy with 2 of my favorites right now. And my thing is, I believe this is the first time we've seen Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa work together in the leads.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Momoa has worked with Vin Diesel because he was in one of the Fast movies.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm trying to think that either of them worked with The Rock besides Bautista in wrestling. I'm like, I'm not sure. Yeah, what's interesting about this to me is that this is strikingly similar to a movie that Amazon also put out last year called Heads of State, where it's kind of got like the same basic idea, not like the premise of the story, but the idea.
It doesn't have like the high concept. This is more grounded. This is about cops, like where Heads of State was like, oh yeah, what if like
the president and the prime minister,
had to become action heroes like out of nowhere. It's
But this is like, it's similar to me in the sense that it's a comic action movie starring like kind of 2 big guys, one of them a professional wrestler. It feels like Amazon's got this format that they're like, we need to do more movies like this.
And the other difference between this and like Heads of State is like John Cena and Idris Elba, like they had already worked together in the Suicide Squad, so like this was like their second pairing. Where like I've already said, as far as I know, this is like Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista's first pairing.
Yeah, that seems about right. Like I'm not sure. I can't write that home to the bank, but I mean like that sounds right. But yeah,
right, like they may have been like appeared in like a movie together or something, but they were never like, co-leading the movie or like like doing something where like most of their scenes were together.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks like a fun time. Basically in the same way Heads of State was a fun time. It's like, oh, I kind of just want to see these 2 like working off of each other. And I think that would be like a fun movie to watch, just seeing these 2 guys kind of working off of each other. So that's kind of, I think, what's most exciting about this. This is from the director of Blue Beetle, which is kind of like a little interesting side thing too about this. Then we got another trailer for One Piece. We'd had teasers for season 2. I don't think we've had a trailer yet. So this is the first trailer, I believe, for One Piece season 2. And we get to see a lot of like Baroque works, which is like a new concept for you. I think I explained it to you a little bit when we were watching, when we covered season 1, because they did put a little bit of a tease to Baroque works for like our introduction to Zoro. When we first meet the character of Zoro, he's like, he kills a Baroque's work member and it was trying to like recruit him or something.
Right. Yeah.
So now you're meeting the other Baroque work members,
Yeah. And they're crazy. They're pretty crazy. Most of them seem to have powers of some sort.
I think pretty much all of them have devil fruits like Luffy.
Yeah.
Season 2 is heading into the Grand Line. Once you get to the Grand Line, like almost everybody's got like a devil fruit now. They're like, it's just like a huge power differential between where they were before and where they are now and when they get to the Grand Line.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited about that. As a One Piece fan, there's certain things that I know are coming this season that I'm like really eager to see. I mean, we got like a previous teaser where we got to see like Chopper. I'm like, I want to see more Chopper, We also, like I said, they're going to be in the Grand Line this season. That's going to happen fairly early, like within the first 2 episodes probably of the new season. That was like a huge, like momentous moment in like the manga and the anime. So I'm really looking forward to how they handle that. But yeah, like they're getting into Baroque's work stuff in this trailer. You get to see Nico Robin. I think she might have shown up in a previous teaser, but just like barely, like blink and you miss it kind of moment or something. And here she's kind of actually featured, and she's the main character going forward, so that's cool. What did you think of this trailer?
I thought it was amazing. I thought all the Baroque Works members they showed looked interesting and cool. Can't wait to see them in action in the actual season. Can't wait to see Luffy fight them. Yeah, it looks awesome. I don't know, it's just more One Piece. The show has kind of been just amazing since season 1, so yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. And then lastly, we got another teaser for Avengers Doomsday. We talked about the previous 3 last week. This seems to be the last of the teasers within this format. I think the Russo brothers even mentioned something about how these trailers are like a hint of what's coming, and that makes me really believe that what I was talking about last week about it kind of being about fatherhood and Doom playing kind of some role in that, in affecting these people's children and stuff. I think that's going to be playing a big part. I think that's probably what they meant. But this is the teaser that covers both Wakanda and the Fantastic Four. Right? I say that because it says it at the end that, Wakanda and the Fantastic Four are returning in Doomsday or whatever.
The Wakandans
but the Fantastic Four is basically just one character with one line of dialogue in this teaser.
No, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm was there.
Oh yeah, okay, I guess in a shot or something, but this is mostly about Wakanda.
Whoosh. She was in every scene.
Her and John Cena.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was the Wakandans basically going out to meet visitors or a visitor, and pans over and it's Ben. It's King Mbaktu says Mbaktu of Wakanda, and Ben just says Ben Grimm, Yancey Street.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was just to show that, yep, they're in this. Well, it's pretty cool. I apparently they landed Wakanda, the Fantastic Four landed Wakanda. I don't know how that squares up with them showing up outside of Avengers top base.
They were in space there, so that could have just been, they weren't necessarily anywhere near that where the Thunderbolts were.
Right.
They just got deep space from satellite imagery or something. Yeah, what do you think about this trailer or this teaser strategy for Doomsday?
I thought it was kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid because all the teasers leaked as soon as they were put in theaters. I don't think it had any effect on the box office of Avatar. I don't think people are going to go to the movies just to see, I gotta go see the latest 30-second freaking teaser for the
I'm
next
sure
movie.
Somebody did, but
I'm sure somebody did.
Not enough to make a dent,
But they would put it in front of the movie, it'd air in theaters, and somebody with the worst freaking camera ever, somebody with a Nokia phone they purchased in 1997 would film it with their shitty camera and put it online, and then everybody would discuss the leaks, and then a week later Marvel would officially upload it, and then we're supposed to act like we never saw it before. Oh, yeah, okay.
Aside from that, though, the content of the teasers.
Oh, okay. Aside from it was alright. There was nothing crazy. And the best one was the X-Men one. The best one was the X-Men. Seeing Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and freaking Cyclops, that was the money shot. That was the most hype of all 4 of them.
I think the best one was the first one just because it was hype because it confirmed something that was not yet confirmed,
That's true. Yeah.
But that's all, that's all it was. It was just a confirmation that he's in it and that he's a dad now or something.
Yeah,
that's all we got from it. But it was I think that was the most interesting because it was this is new information. Whereas all of the other ones, it's this is stuff we already knew these characters were there. I think the X-Men one had the coolest shot with Cyclops at the end. This one, the most recent one now, we had, Ben meeting the Wakandans was kind of that's a cool little moment or something. But I almost kind of would have preferred to just wait and see that in the movie,
Right, yeah, I did need a teaser for that.
Yeah. I think in general these teasers are a little disappointing.
Yeah, really wanted to see Doom, and you don't see Doom in any of these teasers, so
yeah.
The movie is called Doomsday, but I get it. They're probably saving that for the first full trailer they do. They're probably saving that. So, I get it, but at the same time, it's that would have been hype.
Do you have any thoughts about Doomsday?
Doomsday.
Do you know what that is?
No.
So apparently, as of right now, Avengers Doomsday and the last Dune movie are coming out on the same day.
Oh, okay, we're doing this.
And so they're kind of borrowing the Barbieheimer model, and they're calling it Doomsday. say.
Oh, okay. That's clever.
It's funny, but it's like somebody else brought up a point that I think is right, which is that what made Barbieheimer so like viral and so fun, and what made it so funny, like the whole idea of Barbieheimer, is that the two movies were like so diametrically opposed.
They were completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, yeah.
That's what made it funny, because you'd see like an Oppenheimer poster in the style of Barbie, and then a Barbie poster in the style of Oppenheimer, and it was like really funny because it was like, these don't belong together. Like, why are these together? And that was kind of like the funny thing. But Dune and Avengers have a very similar audience base, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no,
that Venn diagram is nearly a circle.
Yeah, exactly. Do you like science fiction? Do you like superheroes? You probably like both.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, that Venn diagram is barely an oval. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, but that's Avengers Doomsday. I just want to see something legit from that movie.
Same.
Actual trailer.
I want to see like the full trailer.
Yeah, so that's still a ways out, and I mean the movie's not coming till the very end of the year. I'm sure there's going to be lots of marketing stuff leading up to it. It's a Marvel movie, so like no duh. I'm kind of surprised we're getting all this shit though. We haven't gotten anything for the new Spider-Man movie, and that's coming out like half a year before.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So I'm kind of surprised we haven't got teasers for that, but I get it. They're doing like early promotion. They're like really trying to hype up the whole like who's going to be in this movie kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that's it for our trailers and our On Beat segment. And now we're going to move on to our final segment, full spoilers. This week on Full Spoilers, we are talking about Stranger Things 5 Part 2 and the finale. So they did that weird structured release thing. They released Part 1, which we already discussed on Thanksgiving. Then they released Part 2, which was like the next 3 episodes after that on Christmas. And then they released the finale, a single finale, just the one episode, which is like a over 2-hour long episode on New Year's. So they did this kind of structured release. We covered the Thanksgiving drop of Part 1 of it because we were still doing our podcast at that point. But the other 2 took place over, like I said, Christmas and New Year's. We were off for those weeks. We took those off to kind of just have time with our families and stuff. And then last week was our first episode in 2026, but that was kind of covering our best of 2025 stuff. So now we've gotten into our content that we had kind of leering over our shoulders waiting to be discussed, and that is Stranger Things 5, Part 2 and the finale. What did you think about Part 2?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was exciting. I thought the exciting moments were exciting. The emotional beats hit perfectly. And it has a great epilogue. I don't know, like I really enjoyed it. I'll go into more of my nitpicks and stuff I didn't like. But overall, I would say I had a real fun time with this. It's an A. I don't care what people say. People have been like freaking memeing on this online. Like this is Game of Thrones Season 8 all over again. It's like, I don't know, man. At this point, I don't understand what people expected. People were expecting fucking Shakespeare or something out of this.
They were watching the wrong show.
Yeah, I don't know what show they thought they were watching. Yeah.
I get some of the complaints, like when people talked about the fact that where are the Demogorgons and stuff like that from the finale. It's like, yeah, I get that. But like in the end, do I really want them to like tack another like 20 minutes onto the episode so that we can have Demogorgon show up, get killed, and then that's it, and there's no point to it?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
does it really matter? You know, like
it doesn't. Yeah, it's just like playing the stupid plot hole logic game. Yes, logically, Vecna should be marshaling all of his forces. They're literally invading his home. They're right at his neck. I get that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm just enjoying the spectacle of them battling the Mind Flayer. Just seeing like the Mind Flayer, like all of its glory. It's kind of like a pretty epic battle. So like I'm watching, I'm not thinking, where are the Demogorgons? Demogorgons.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not thinking about that at the time.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like when you look back on it and you think about that aspect, it's like, yeah, they were missing and stuff, but it's like, did I really care when I was watching it? And it's like, no, not really at all. Like, you know, it wasn't like, there's no Demogorgons there, like, ruined. I have no interest in this anymore. It's like,
it
no.
Just feels like people like nitpicking after the fact, you know? Like,
yeah. I mean, that's always going to happen with like shows, especially when they're ending. People like, you know, want like that. They're chasing the heroine dragon of, you know, the perfect ending that they're never going to get, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I say like calls like people like, oh, there's a secret episode 9 that redeems everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. I will say though, the Duffer Brothers did not help anything with their post-season interviews where they kept saying, oh, that probably happened off screen. Or like, oh, like, I guess that's up to your interpretation. It's kind of like, man, you're not helping.
Yeah. I just shouldn't have answered.
Yeah.
I agree there. That's definitely true. For the finale itself, a lot of people mixed opinions on it, but the way I kind of looked at it is it felt like the last level plus like a multi-tier boss fight and then an epilogue.
Then epilogue. Yeah, exactly. I think you got your excitement, you got your catharsis, and then you got to continue exploring these characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you got to say a proper goodbye to these characters that you're never going to see again.
Yeah, definitely. And I think all that stuff really worked too. I think that the epilogue aspect of the final episode felt genuinely heartfelt.
Yes.
Which sometimes is not the case.
I think like it gave everybody like satisfying conclusions, you know?
Mm-hmm. We got to see Derek again at the very end, so that was
great.
We
got to see Derek.
Greatest character in Stranger Things.
He was the breakout of the season. I think like every season of Stranger Things has a character for that season that like just breaks out and becomes the favorite, and like Derek was the character this season.
Yeah. I mean, season 1, obviously that's 11.
Yeah.
Season 2 would probably be, well, that's probably shared. I'd say Max and Billy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Were they season 2?
Yes.
I was also thinking of Sean Astin's character.
Yeah, he was good too, but I think Max and Billy were like the real standout.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they stuck around. But if we were to limit it to characters that were only in that season and did not move on, graduate to other seasons, then it would be Bob Newby. Season 1 would be, I don't know, like, I guess like Barb. Everybody was really invested in like what happened to Barb in season 1.
That was like kind of ridiculous, but...
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous. Season 2 would be Bob Newby. Season 3, I don't know.
I don't know who it would be with season 3. Season 4 is easy.
Season
4 is Eddie.
Oh, you know what? Season 3 is like that Russian scientist.
Oh, yeah. That was sad. I missed him.
Yeah, that was sad. Yeah. That was season 3. Season 4 is Eddie. And season 5 is Delightful Derek. And Delightful Derek is only in season 5. He's not going to be in season 6 because season 6 is not going to exist. Yeah. So he counts.
But yeah, I mean, that was cool. Nice breakout character with him. Very fun. We'll probably see him pop up in a bunch of stuff, and then we'll have to see if his career takes off or if that was pretty much it. If he's like a one-trick pony.
Right. I don't know. I thought like it was entertaining. The lead up to the finale was good, where like they were preparing and planning. I mean, there's like a lot of moments too. There's the moment with, Nancy and Jonathan, like, basically breaking up, being stuck in that lab in the Upside Down.
That was the most romantic breakup scene.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It must have been hard for them to film because they're a couple in real life.
Yeah.
Obviously, Steve and Dustin, basically.
Yeah, when Dustin broke down, when he was like started crying and he was like, I can't lose somebody again. The way that put an end to their little bickering, fighting that was happening throughout.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really good.
I thought that was really good. Yeah, oh yeah. It was because Dustin was basically, his reaction to Eddie dying was he was just gonna like push everybody away.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was like trying to protect himself from that happening again.
I think I really like Steve's arc through the whole series.
Yes.
How he kind of like...
Steve is like one of the characters that grows the most.
Yeah, he becomes like really like a father figure. He becomes like a big brother kind of babysitter, and then by the end of the series, it's like he's coaching like, kids and stuff. Like he's getting really into it, like
he's coaching like middle school baseball at the end of the series.
Yeah, it's like you can see like, he found that through Dustin. He found like kind of his life's purpose.
Right.
But it's like,
being a mentor.
It's not being like a pretty boy, popular athlete or whatever. It's being like like a mentor to kids, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's really cool. Like I said, like, everybody has, like, good storylines of this.
Even Karen, Karen Wheeler, Mike and Nancy's mom had, like, her badass moment.
Yeah, she had her badass moment, and Ted exists.
That's about all you can say for him.
Yeah.
At least he stood up to a Demogorgon, at least.
That's true, yeah. At least he did that.
So he did something, you know? I'm kind of disappointed with how they handled Callie. She was, like, part of the absolute worst episode of the entire series in season 2. And then they brought her back, and it was like, and then they just kind of made her, like, her and Hopper, like, hostile towards each other.
Yeah, they made her and Hopper. I also kind of felt she was, like, more of a plot device than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, like, really uncharacteristic for, like, the series, and, like, even within the season, it was uncharacteristically seemed pretty badly written.
When we went into the end of part 1, it's like, okay, Will's got powers now, 11's got powers now, and they've got 8 now. So we got, like, 3 people with powers. We've got kind of our Avengers team of, like, super-powered people, plus you got, you know, other characters that are also got their badass place. Nancy's been proven herself as an unpowered but badass character. And
Nancy's, like, murdering, like, people and, like, and has, like, no, like, feeling about it whatsoever. She doesn't even, like, stop to reflect. Like, I killed a person.
She's a Sarah Connor. She's become a Sarah Connor.
Yeah, she's Sarah Connor, yeah.
And then it's like we got all that stuff together, and then it just kind of felt, okay, Will seemed to get, like, severely depowered very quickly after they introduced that he had powers, and it was like, oh yeah, you know that badass stuff with him with powers, like, yeah, we're just gonna take that down about 10 notches. And then Callie, like, it was like, oh yeah, she's part of the team, but she's just kind of antagonistic to everybody and doesn't really want to be there or anything. So that's that, you know? It's just kind of like, okay. That was a little annoying. I didn't like that aspect of it, but when it comes to our main characters, it was exciting to see all of them. We had some characters that are missing, strangely. We didn't hear anything about, like, Dustin's girlfriend, even though, like, she was never with the group, but she was, like, always part of the show since, like, season 3. And then she was in season 4, and we got to see her house and her family and the crazy family, and that was, like, a really cool scene in season 4, and just not even a mention in this season, just gone, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess, you know, that's not what they wanted to do with Dustin's character. They needed him to be kind of on edge, and in order to do that, he couldn't have a sweet girlfriend that would, like, be understanding and helpful of her. That was out the window, so I guess that kind of just determined that they didn't really need that character.
Just assume they broke up off screen.
Yeah, that Dustin pushed her away.
Yeah, Dustin pushed her away. I mean, logistically, like, it's probably, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you think, oh, we needed a scene for this, but then if you actually think about the pacing of the show, like, would that have even fit? You could have, like, shoehorned it in, but would it have helped or hindered in the long run by shoehorning in a scene that doesn't, like, thematically fit with the rest of the season, even if it does thematically fit with, like, the overall character arc or, like, you know, of the whole series or something. At a certain point, you have to make those hard decisions of, like, this is not going to help the season, and fans may want it because they like the character, but does it make sense to include it just for that?
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, that's also, I think, a good reason why we didn't have Argyle, you know, Jonathan's stoner pizza delivery friend, you know, he wasn't there either.
Yeah, he wasn't, and yeah, exactly.
I know some people were upset that, you know, Robin got her girlfriend and stuff, but she kind of just disappeared in the last couple episodes. I mean, that kind of made sense to me just because she was never really involved. She got involved very briefly, but it's not like she was gonna go to the other dimension with them. She wasn't that involved. So I think it was kind of fitting that happened that way.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm a little disappointed with what they did. They got Linda Hamilton, and then they really didn't do too terribly much.
Oh, yeah, this was, I think, like, the biggest legit criticisms people have, and I have is too, yeah, they pretty much don't end the military storyline. They just kind of, like, go away with, like, no, like, real conclusion to that. Mm-hmm. And I've seen, like, the Duffer Bros, like, well, okay, they didn't have 11 anymore, and, you know, there was no portal, so they just kind of got bored and left. And it's like, okay, yeah, but, like, the kids still killed, like, a bunch of soldiers and stuff. Should they have been arrested? Like, I don't, like, like, I feel like Linda Hamilton should have been defeated in some meaningful way.
Killed.
You know, yeah, she should have been defeated in some meaningful way. Just to, like, skip ahead a few years and they're gone, and, like, to just have the audience accept that oh, they probably left is like, it's kind of lazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah, just admit you did not know how to like resolve this plot line.
They should have killed them all in the end of part 1. They already had a bunch of the military people die. I think they just all should have died at that point.
Yeah, I think so.
And then instead of our characters sneaking around to kind of try to accomplish their goals, maybe had Dr. Owen show up again and actually be in support and giving them the support they need to get shit done. And that could have kind of closed some loopholes, but I don't know. It's a tricky situation. Wrapping up a show is going to be a tricky situation regardless.
It is, but that is like glaring. Like, why did you start this plot line if you didn't know how to like conclude it?
Why did you fucking cast Linda Hamilton and then, you know, not go
and I also like thought she was going to be more interesting of a character than she is. Like, I like was watching it to think, okay, yeah, on the surface, she's kind of an asshole or something, but she probably has like some deeper motivations. And it never like really gets any deeper than that with her character, which was disappointing because they cast Linda Hamilton. I thought they were going to like utilize her better than they did.
Yeah, I just think they should have probably killed off that entire military group in that scene at the end of part 1, including Linda Hamilton. They should have killed them all at that point and then kind of put the focus back onto the Vecna, and then it kind of would have had a meaning to that happening that way, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think that was a little bit weak. I was very concerned when we went into like the whole Vecna's weakness thing in the cave. I'm like, as it started developing, I'm like, oh, they're gonna play the whole like he was actually good the whole time.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad they did do that.
Please don't do that. And then they didn't, so I'm like happy that they didn't do that. But like the tease of that kind of felt like stupid.
Will trying to redeem Vecna, but Vecna, you know, Henry like basically saying, I know like the mind flayer is in me, but I agree with it. Like, I willingly want to help it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm glad like they didn't have a face turn for Henry. And also his ending is so satisfying. Joyce being the one to finish him off was like so great.
Yeah, cut with all the kind of people, like all the trauma that he inflicted on people throughout the run of the series. We saw Barbara again. We saw Eddie again. Like all these people
like a bunch of flashbacks. It's funny because if you watch that, it was played out. Steve and Robin don't have Vecna flashbacks because like they never suffered anything from him because like their whole plot line in like season 4 was the KGB and shit.
Yeah,
that was season 3. That was season 3. Yeah, it was like a funny thing to point out. they don't have like Vecna flashbacks.
It's like they cut to Steve and he has a flashback of where like one of the vines hit him and like gave him a split end.
Oh yeah,
he was like that bastard, and then Joyce like hacks his head a little further off.
But that was satisfying. I like where the characters leave off. Basically, yeah, we mentioned Steve becomes a coach, and Nancy dropped out of college to become like an investigative reporter, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan is
trying to make movies. He's trying to make a movie.
He's trying to make a movie. That's right. He's making a movie. Mike is a writer now.
Mm-hmm.
Mike is going to be a very famous science fiction author.
Mike's the dude from Stand By Me.
That was like a very deliberate Stand By Me reference.
Yeah.
That was like very obvious.
Well, I mean, this whole series was always like an homage to like the Stevens.
Yeah.
To, like Spielberg and King, you know?
Spielberg and King, yeah, exactly. Will is out there. He finds somebody. That's good.
Yeah. He came out to his friends, which was, I saw somebody point out it was kind of funny saying like, did they forget this show takes place in the 80s?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, but like, I like that, like, they were understanding. That was refreshing. It would have been funnier though if he came out and like, everybody was like, we know. Like, we've been knowing. It was very obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Will might have been the weakest part of the show, the season. I think this season proved to me that Noah Schnapp is not a great actor.
Yeah, he's just not a great actor.
And he had monologues in the season, and that's what really put it on display.
Oh yeah, like the big coming out scene was like really the biggest display of, wow, this guy cannot act.
Yeah, yeah. He had like multiple monologues.
And apparently that was like, it took them like a long time to film that too. So damn.
Yeah, I think it showed a weakness that Will's character is always kind of, you know, I don't know. Like, I think in season 4, some of his weird behaviors made sense because it was like, oh, okay, he's attracted to Mike and he's kind of keeping it a secret. And so like he'd act in this weird over the top way and stuff, but it was like, it kind of made sense for what they were trying to portray.
I I guess because like I watched season 4, they're like really trying to make it obvious without saying it, right? Like they are really like laying it on thick. And I just thought it was weird and awkward for the sake of making the viewer aware of what was going on, trying to be the most obvious they could be about it without like directly stating it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. That's the way I took it.
Yeah, I think I'm just saying like the actors overacting.
Yeah.
It kind of worked in season 4 because it was like a weird, complex, goofy, puberty kind of moment, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, yeah, it kind of like you fit it. But then when he's trying to do these monologues in season 5, it's like, yeah, it's just his lack of ability as an actor is just really taking center stage in those moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because he's like everybody else that he's in these scenes with are like actually really good actors.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I don't know. I think like most of that cast like kind of like grew into it like pretty well, but like he did not.
No, yeah, exactly.
And then I like that the epilogue takes place in like summer 1989, probably like June because they're graduating.
But there was not a single Batman reference.
Yeah, the Batman came out that year. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody cared. That was like one of the biggest movies of 1989.
Yeah, and it was like kind of the start of the superhero boom. I mean, it wasn't the first superhero movie, but it was kind of the start of the superhero boom, you know?
I remember watching Batman with my family on VHS that December of 89, watching it. I'm pretty sure that was like my first real exposure to Batman.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is like, we had this era in the 80s of entertainment that was like very focused on kind of kids and adventure, you know, Stand By Me, Goonies, Monster Squad, like so on and so on and so on. Basically what Stranger Things is based on. And then in 89 with Batman, that's what started the whole superhero thing. So obviously like the MCU stuff was like a second push of that was like a complete, we can kind of separate them even further with that. But it really started in 89. That's like when like the whole superhero craze kind of started. And we had so many like garbage attempts at making, you know, different comic book characters or like original things that were imitating comic book stuff. But that was kind of like the advent of like, oh, comic book stuff now. You know, that's like when that all started happening and it went carried through the 90s and it's still carrying on now, you know?
Yeah.
And with the show being so heavily focused on like the cultural aspects of the 80s and stuff and how they kind of play homage to these past movies and like the Stephen King books and all that kind of stuff, it would be kind of interesting if they had addressed that in like a weird way of like, oh, things have changed, you know, like something like the way things.
But you talk about the Stevens though. Yeah. Batman wasn't mentioned, but Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade was playing at the theater in Hawkins.
Yeah. I guess there you go. I guess they did kind of cover the tail end because that was kind of like the end of the Stevens craze, you know?
Yeah, that was, exactly.
I guess in a sense they bookended what they actually did cover.
Right. The end of Stevens craze. I don't know, like, because Steven Spielberg had like Jurassic Park just a few years later. So.
Yeah, but that was a very different era for Steven Spielberg.
That's true.
Like he wasn't focusing on kids and stuff, you know?
Right. I love the last shot of the series, which is the group is playing D&D and then they get up and they leave and Mike puts up their binders, their D&D binders, and Mike is leaving the basement and then the kids that were introduced to us, these are Holly and Derek and her friends, run down into the basement and they set up their own game of D&D, you know, and it's kind of like, and Mike looks on in approval, it's kind of like the next generation, you know, taking over, you know.
Delightful Derek.
Delightful Derek. His era. It's funny because like if that was 1989, I was like those kids' age at that time. I wasn't like Mike's age or Will's or Eleven's in 89. I was like 8 years old.
Yeah.
So I would have been the same age as like those kids.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. I think that would have been a good moment to kind of have them doing something but not D&D, you know, like their own kind of thing, could kind of like play on the idea of like it's a different era, you know?
Right, yeah.
But
I think the idea was like a passing of the torch.
Yeah, I get what they were going for, and I liked it still. And Mike taking like a moment to reflect on it from like the stairway, you know, was like, that's like a good moment. That's a good moment for it. I also liked all the kind of stuff in the credits. The artwork in the credits was really cool.
Joyce and Hopper like getting engaged and like talking about moving to like a new place.
That was originally the name of Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Stranger Things was first announced it was called like Montauk or something.
Oh,
and that's where he
that's
said
right.
that they're moving.
That's where he said they were moving.
Yeah.
And now we should I want to do like one final thing because I think we hit like everything I want to talk about. But one final thing, the big controversy, 11, alive or dead?
I think they kind of overly made it clear that she's alive because of Mike's explanation basically undercuts a plot hole otherwise. Like the whole thing about how would 11 use her powers or whatever to communicate to Mike if she was affected by the machines, and it wouldn't make sense if that was the case. So it's like they kind of overplayed that in a way where it's like they played it like it was ambiguous, but then by like making it an actual like basically the solution to a plot hole, like the only possible solution to a plot hole, they kind of took away all ambiguity to it, I think. So I think it makes it very clear that she's still alive, which I don't know. I kind of don't necessarily like the whole ending for 11 period.
Yeah,
like,
same.
I just don't really like that. I don't buy that she would just go like, oh, I'm just going to leave. It's the best thing to do or something. I think if they were going to have her leave, it would be better if they had a dramatic moment that made that something she had to do rather than something.
I prefer to think of it as, I prefer to take the interpretation that like that's Mike's story, like his coping mechanism, and she did sacrifice herself. That really like annoyed me that they did that because it's kind of like, just take a stand with your writing. Like that's cowardly to me. It's kind of like we want to like kill off 11 for story reasons and to like have that dramatic moment, but like we also don't want people to be upset, so we want to like give people an out to like believe that she survived, you know, or it has like a continuation. And I'm like, that's cowardly. Just pick one and stick with it. And like they were like in every, oh well, it's up to interpretation. It's
they
like
had her
on.
time travel.
Yeah, they should.
They should have had the collapsing of the bridge, like she thought she was going to die, and then she like woke up and she was like in modern times.
You're depending on them to like tell you a story, and then at the end of the story they go, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I'm not the storyteller.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm not exactly happy with how they handled the 11 ending thing. I just thought it was really kind of out of character the way they portrayed that. I thought when Callie brought it up, it was kind of ridiculous. When she like agreed to it, it was kind of ridiculous. When they went back on it afterwards, it was kind of ridiculous. Like I just never liked it, like the direction they were going for in general on that.
I think it was like a function of them not like knowing how to like resolve the whole military plot line. Cause like the argument was if 11's still around, then the military is still going to be around. They're going to be trying to like capture her and exploit her for like as long as she's around. And there's really like no way to resolve that unless she's like out of the picture in some fashion.
I think that it's kind of the other way around. I think that the military storyline was in place for that.
Right.
Because I think what the actual reasoning for it, at least in my opinion, was that 11 represents kind of the fantastical element of the show.
Yeah.
And Vecna's dead. Everybody else, like Will and those kids, all of their powers came by being connected to the hive mind from Vecna, so their powers are all gone. Callie's dead. All the other numbered children are gone. And so like 11 being gone is like saying that era is over. That like that kind of era of magic is gone, and now we're back to like normalcy. And it's like the idea of you have this magic in your childhood and then you grow up and that magic's gone. And I think that that's kind of what they were playing on. But and the military was just like a reason to make her have to make that choice. It was like, okay, well, we have to have her. 11 has to make a choice, so we're going to create this situation in order to make her have to make that choice. And I think it's probably something that they intended from the very beginning, that like 11 wasn't going to be around at the end of the show, that she wasn't going to be with everybody, that it wasn't going to be like a happily ever after for her. And I think that they kind of stubbornly stuck to their guns on that, and it might have been better if they hadn't, but I don't know. Like I said, I have such a problem with how they handled that it's not as simple as saying, oh, they could have made this one simple change and it would have fixed it. It's like, no, I think that it's such a deep problem that it would be like, it would take a long time to describe how they could fix it, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah. Complaints aside though, like I really enjoyed this season. Sad to see it go. I'm glad like they gave almost everybody except 11 satisfying endings.
Yeah.
So
I think it's good. I definitely think season 4 was better.
Yeah, and that's fair.
I think this wasn't as good, but it's not like a huge... This isn't Game of Thrones season 8.
It was like
No. This isn't Dexter season 5
no,
or 6
this is
whatever.
pretty consistent with the quality of the rest of the series,
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, this is like a sudden downturn.
No, not at all. It's just, and whenever anything ends, it's just sad because it's something you're invested in. And if it comes to a true conclusion, then that's over, and then there's like a kind of state of mourning. And I think some people are mistaking that feeling of mourning, the end of a show, as being like, well, I don't like this. Given enough time, I think some of those people are going to kind of come around on it, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Each individual.
Well,
things got to end. If they didn't end, then people would be pissed off for a different reason.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Things got to end. I agree with things ending. I don't agree with things being forever.
You know who was missing from this season?
Who?
Owens. Dr. Owens.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Owens.
We totally thought he was going to show up.
Yep.
When we talked about part 1, we thought Owens was going to show up, and he never did.
Because it made sense with the military storyline, then he never did. I guess Paul Reiser just wasn't available.
Yeah. So that's it for our discussion of Stranger Things Season 5, Part 2, and the finale, and our discussion of Stranger Things, period. I don't think we're going to cover the Saturday morning cartoon they're doing.
No.
Or the play.
Or, like, the upcoming spinoff.
Maybe. I don't know what the spinoff is. They said it's going to be its own story. Like, it's not going to be...
Yeah.
They said it's a spinoff, but it's going to have its own mythology, its own everything, and that none of the main characters are returning. Like, they're not going to go like, oh, and here's Mike showing up again or something. They said, like, none of that's going to be there. So, who knows? Maybe the spinoff will be good.
Yeah, who knows?
It'll have to stand on its own.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that's it for our discussion of Stranger Things and for our podcast this week. Next week, we are going to be talking about Pluribus. This is the Apple TV show done by Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, former X-Files writer. That's like the parallel that really matters for Pluribus, because Pluribus is like a high-concept sci-fi show in line with like an X-Files type thing. So that's what we're going to be discussing next week. The entire series, or season, I should say, is out right now on Apple TV Plus if you want to watch and catch up for our discussion, because we are going to be talking about it next week in full spoilers, and I'm looking forward to that discussion. Until then, thank you everybody for listening. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will on both of those platforms. He is at Bachla Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.blogspot.com. Open up a container story to any of our podcast episodes there. Scroll down to the bottom paragraph and you'll find all the links to our SoundCloud page, our RSS feed, all the social account stuff. It's all there. You can check that there. You can also subscribe to the podcast, your favorite podcast client of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts, and the entire backlog of the podcast, as well as additional content, is available on our YouTube channel, and that includes our old podcast, The Weekly Set, which went for 300 episodes. That's all there, so you can check that out. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.